Should I leave my church? If you're asking yourself that question, then probably the answer is going to be yes. However, there's going to be a few caveats. Number one, the first caveat is if your church is the Roman Catholic Church, then the answer is definitely yes. You're not going to be able to do any good in that system. It's literally a satanic deception, and you should flee while you still can. If your church does not meet the strict definition of a church as laid out in the letters to Timothy, you should probably leave. What does a Timothy church look like? Well, it has a well-respected pastor. He is the husband of one wife. He has managed his life well. His children are well disciplined and respected as well. The elder board also fits that role. They're going to be civically respected in their communities. They're not going to be given to the kinds of sins that have taken over the United States. And probably, if you're asking the question, should I leave my church? The reason you're asking it is because you got the wrong kind of pastor and the wrong kind of elder board anyway. If you were going to church and you were actually getting fed the way a church is supposed to feed a believer, you wouldn't be asking these questions in the first place. So what is the purpose of the church? And guess what? The purpose of the church is not to do evangelism. The purpose of the church is not to have seeker-sensitive services where people can come in and become Christians. The purpose of the church is to be a meeting place for people who are Christians. It's so you can go and learn doctrine and get help from your fellow believers and to be able to fellowship in a culture that literally hates you. That's what the church is for. Evangelism is supposed to take place outside of the church. You're supposed to go to your church to fellowship with believers, to get discipled so you become a better Christian, so then you can go out into the world and be a light to the world. If you have been going to your church and you cannot explain to a layperson on the street who asks you, why do you think you get to go to heaven? If you can't answer that in a biblically sound and coherent way, your church has failed you and therefore you should leave. Modern culture in the United States and in many places is so bankrupt that what used to be true about the average American is just no longer true. People are biblically illiterate. They have no understanding about what is going on in the world and why it's going on. They have no understanding of theology. They have no understanding of philosophy. Most people can't even think logically. And so the church has a huge task of equipping believers to be able to go out into the world and effectively preach Christ's message, which is the only thing Christians are supposed to be doing, effectively. And so today, if your church isn't heavily engaged in the instruction of apologetics for the believers who will go out and disciple the world, then probably your church is not doing what it's supposed to be doing and you should leave. If you go to church to hear music and sing songs and then leave with an empty head, then your church is not fulfilling its role. It's basically wasting your time.